How's everybody doing? Okay, we are going to do part two of Cancer and Aquarius, right? Okay, yes. Oh, how am I gonna drink before I begin? I had to dilute the bitch because it was fucking strong. Ooh, I think more hair grew on my chest from that hit. Oh Lord. Okay. Oh, listen, I gotta do something to throw the punch, because I tell you. Even though it's a cigar, I really don't like to smoke on TV, on YouTube, or because I don't want to set a bad example. But I am a priest, so I'm allowed to do it. But I don't like to do it often because I don't want to make it seem like it's cool to smoke. I just do it because my being is required that I do that from time to time. You know. Okay, so we're gonna jump right in, and we are going to talk about first cancer. Understand that you have to understand that cancer. Okay, let me raise this. I'm sorry. Let me raise this. Okay, I can't hear. Okay, got it. Okay, cancer is deeply romantic. That's one thing that I gotta say. Okay, it's a deeply romantic and caring sign with a great deal of emotional power and depth. Such emotional power and depth that I don't know if the Aquarian, the Cancer man. Let me flip it here in part two. There was something that I wanted to say a little more about, the sexes, but let me begin with the Cancer man flipping it in part two. Is that just like the Cancer woman, the Cancer man feels deeply and has tremendous emotional depth, like the Virgo man, the Virgo woman too. But the both signs, Virgo man and Virgo woman, both sexes, are deep signs and think deeply and deep profound levels, which parallels Scorpio. In fact, the deepness of Scorpio emotionally begins in Cancer. It culminates in Scorpio, in Virgo, and then begins to wane when it reaches Scorpio, which is why Scorpio is so retiring emotionally and more closed than the other signs. But this type of emotional closure, but at the same time emotional exposition, begins with Cancer. Okay, the queen, the watery queen of the emotions, to understand where it comes from. So with this type of powery and emotional depth of Cancer, both from the man and the woman, it's something that can be sort of a quandary with the Aquarian man. The Aquarian man might not completely understand, you know, where this emotional depth comes from, because he refuses to believe that it's something that is immeasurable, because the soul is immeasurable. The Aquarian man and the Aquarian woman don't want to believe that. Talking about the Cancer man with the Aquarian woman, even though she's a woman, she might not completely grasp the emotional complexity and the emotional needs of the Cancer man. If she's not paying attention and observing the different needs that this man may have from day to day, from hour to hour, from second to second, she might dismiss his emotional needs and temperaments as just whimsical attitudes that he can control. She might completely not understand and completely abuse the Cancer man in thinking that he's just being cranky or crabby or moody or just fussy or difficult, not understanding that there are some emotional mechanisms that the Cancer man and the Cancer woman respond to that have nothing to do with any kind of whimsical reactionary behavior coming from without. You know, and this is something that that the Aquarian man or the Aquarian woman refuses to pay attention to or to acknowledge. And that can be a problem. That really can be a problem. Because it lends towards misunderstanding of each other. It lends towards mixed cues and mixed signals and not getting to really understand each other on a more interpersonal level. Now, that doesn't mean that they might not understand each other on a more intuitive level or in a more perceptive level. But still, even with that being said, it's still important for people to engage in open dialogue and open communication. And both Cancer and Aquarius refuse to kind of do that when it deals with interpersonal matters. Each one for different reasons, though. The Cancer woman is motivated by a lot of fears. She has a lot of fears. Some of them are rational, but most of them are irrational. Because the Cancer woman, psychologically, she creates scenarios in her mind of what will be a good situation that she can get out of or escape from, or a situation that she might want to avoid. So she creates all kinds of examples and simulations in her mind of possible crisis situations in which she might have to bail out or find a way to escape or retaliate. So she might have summations in her mind about a particular person just by their behaviors and judge that and put a stamp of it and decides that this person is this based on the behavior that she's observing in the person. And this is something that she will not discuss with her partners. Like Libra, they go into a silent contract and they decide whether this is going to work or not going to work and not say a word to their partner. This is her shell, her protective mechanism, and then she proceeds if she decides that she's going to give it a try and give it a chance. She'll proceed gingerly, carefully. Still, though, she makes all the decisions and she plays all I don't want to say game, but she pulls the strings and she decides how far the man is going to get to her or the Cancer man, even though the approach of the Cancer man will be slightly different. You know, he's going to gauge you, the Cancer man, emotionally, and then determine what he can use and what he will not use. And what he can use, he'll probably use against you should he need to, so he can gain upper leverage. Every motivational calculation by the Cancer man emotionally is driven by an action that he foresees that he's going to want to do. And therefore, he sets the stage to create the field bed in which he's going to act on that emotional reaction or that emotional trap, depending on what kind of Cancer man you're dealing with, if he's evolved or unevolved. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. The Cancer man can be quite diabolical that way. Yeah. Uh, uh, uh. Sorry. I don't want to get up to the toothpick and I got something stuck in them. I was eating some hors d'oeuvres. But yeah, that's the situation with the Cancer man. The Cancer man is seeking to gain something of an upper hand on the person if he can use it tactically to achieve his aims. You have to understand that the opposite polarity of Cancer is Capricorn, the devil. The devil. So I understand that Cancer is not all that innocent as she or he may appear to be. The Cancer woman really is driven by her heart, and she does have more heart, more compassion than the Cancer man. Even though the Cancer man may understand intellectually where emotions play a role and fit in the scheme of humanity, he really deep down, doesn't really care much about it. He understands it, but he doesn't really care about the principle of what it symbolizes. To him, if nothing lends towards self survival or self preservation, then it's not important to Cancer. And the same thing with Capricorn. It's opposite polarity. So there is a level of indifference and detachment that Cancer can possess, and not much is spoken about it actually. But Cancer does have its sense of detachment and its sense of indifference, which mirrors its opposite polarity of Capricorn. Understand that Aquarius, the classical co-ruler of Aquarius, was Saturn, and Saturn rules Capricorn and opposes Cancer. Saturn is in detriment in Cancer. So understand that the hence another reason why we call it incompatibility of signs, because the signs and the signs rulership don't do well with each other. Saturn is in detriment in Cancer, and Uranus works disastrously in Cancer, but it can spark genius in Cancer. But the liability will be a shattered form of existence which would have no order. And if it does, even if it did have order, it will be disrupted from time to time. Now, Saturn, or well, the moon in Aquarius can be just as impersonal as Saturn in its fall in Cancer, or in detriment in Cancer, actually. No. So already there's going to be, with the two of them, an emotional avoidance. The Cancer is going to want to express her feelings or emotions. Not so much the Cancer man. Not so much the Cancer man. The Cancer man will actually employ the opposite dynamic and not show emotion and show actually aggression. Cancer men are known for being moody and being mean and nasty and mean spirited if they choose to be, when they want to be. Because, of course, not all of them are. Not all of them are like this, but not all of them are like this. But all of them can be like this, you know. And it's a matter of choice, but it's also a matter of temperamental moods. If you catch them on the wrong time on a given day. The same thing with the Cancer woman. It's just that the Cancer woman will probably retreat from public spotlight or view. The Cancer man won't do that, but he will let you know and wear his moods on his sleeves. That can throw off the Aquarian woman dealing with a Cancer man. The Aquarian woman will have to make sure that she's not judging his behavior or his moods as something whimsical or something that's within his own machinations, because it's not. And you see, and this is where she can be quite indifferent and non-caring, only because she would feel that his emotional withdrawal and his psychological withdrawal is irrational or is not founded on any legitimacy. What she doesn't understand, the Aquarian woman, is that the Cancer man functions on a different internal time clock that is not going to parallel the daily vicissitudes of the external time clocks in which all of humanity functions on. The Cancer man and the woman, it's kind of like they have their own internal clock, you know, and they respond and follow that, independent of what you might think or even respect. With this combination also, there can be a lack of synchronicity. The timing could be off between the two of them. There's always an issue with time, an issue with schedule, an issue with regularity. But understand that Cancer can be just as irregular as she can be disciplined and orderly. The Aquarian man also has his own internal time clock and external clock that he responds to and reacts to, which has nothing to do nor has any bearing on the clocks and schedules of others. Something as simple as wanting to go to dinner and meeting at 7 o'clock can turn out to be a disastrous evening because either you heard wrong or you heard something else, or somehow you couldn't get to the restaurant in time, or you couldn't find, or there was something wrong. There seems to be a disparity of time sequence with this combination. No. And that's because both of them are functioning from different orbits. The moon is so unpredictable, but can also be predictable through her phases. But what about Uranus, the planet which rules Aquarius? Remember, that planet sits on its sideways, and cosmologists don't know why. It's a total mystery. And that lends a little bit to what we might be able to expect about the Aquarian mystery and behavior. It's so unpredictable and it's so unmanageable. There's no way that you're going to win with Aquarius and trying to control him or mitigate him. Not unless he allows you to. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Ah, delicious. Oh, excuse me. Okay, moving right along. When you fall in love, you fall deeply, and when you will, and you will surround yourself with the person that you love in full force, and you're gonna show the forcefulness, Miss Cancer, Mr. Cancer. Well, now, Mr. Cancer, not so much. With Mr. Cancer, he's gonna take his time. It'll take time to win the trust of Mr. Cancer. But the Cancer woman, she will give of herself deeply, fully, full throttle. You know, full throttle. Cancer compatibility has a lot to do with the emotional security and trust that the Cancer woman has on her man. If she can, because she will hold off commitment, until she is certain that her heart is not going to be broken. Okay? She doesn't like getting involved in superficial relationships. Okay? Or casual relationships. Or casual sex. Not that she's not capable of it. But if you're talking about a Cancer woman who's serious about finding a commitment and falling in love with somebody, a casual relationship and casual sex is not going to do it for her. Not because she feels a certain way ethically or morally about it. Listen, the Cancer woman can hang like the rest of us. Trust me, don't believe the hype. Okay, the problem is that her emotional intensity. She's so emotionally fertile. She's so emotionally fertile that she can fall in love easily and deeply. So she needs to pull from her opposite polarity of Capricorn and self-preserve. She ain't gonna be no whore now, you know. And even if she does want to be a whore, she's not looking for a husband. But when she decides that she is, and she's gonna commit seriously, she's not going to engage in that kind of frivolity. Yeah, she won't. She eventually she's gonna want more. these the flowers, they attract these. The Cancer woman is sensitive. You know, she's sensitive. She's sensual and imaginative, and she brings that with her to the bedroom. So does the Cancer man. Okay, with a strong sense of intuition. The Cancer man knows if this is the right woman for him to open himself up to. Until he's sure, he might abuse the women in his life just to test them. Because remember, Capricorns and Cancers, pulling from the opposite polarity, they like to test people. So with the Cancer man, because not so much with the Cancer woman, but with the Cancer man, he likes to test people. And he likes to push the envelope to the last minute to see how they'll react. Because he wants to get a gauge of emotional index that he can, because the more he can gauge of the person by pushing their buttons and testing them out, the wider range he can determine what they're going to do or not do. He has a better catalog emotionally of the women he's dealing with. That's how the Cancer man operates. The Cancer woman does too, but not as aggressively and as insensitively as the Cancer man would do it. So the Aquarian woman can be just as confused and just as emotionally barricaded by the Cancer man if he chooses not to evolve her. And you also have to ask yourself the bigger question. If you are an Aquarian woman and you attract a Cancer man, then you will have to ask yourself, why did the universe put a Cancer man in your midst? Or the Cancer man might have to ask himself, why did the universe put an Aquarian woman in my midst? What is there for me to learn from this woman? Or the woman asking the same question. What is there for me to learn by attracting this man? Could there be a disbalance? Is the Aquarian woman too logical? Too cerebral? Might she need to get her heart hurt, broken, so she can learn about feelings and learn about love? Love is pain. Love is pain. And both Cancer and Aquarius are afraid of pain. And they will avoid it as much as they can. Does that lend towards a serious, open relationship with this combination? Well, it depends on the level of maturity that both bring to the table. The best advice with this combination is that if you're not ready to commit the Aquarian man with a Cancer woman, if you still gotta soak your wild oats before you get to this woman, then you do that. You do that. Now, if it's the Cancer man with the Aquarian woman, listen, if you're the over emotional type, maybe you're attracted to the Aquarian woman so she can bring you some kind of emotional balance by bringing out of you more intellectual stimuli than the emotional stimuli that you are currently engaging in. Or maybe the Aquarian woman might need to experience a really good orgasm should she allow herself emotionally to be open, and the Cancer man can provide that. Maybe he's the one that's going to open the floodgates for an emotional, fulfilling life with the Aquarian woman, if that's why he's in your life. So you have to ask yourself fundamental questions as to why people walk into your life and not in your life. Because believe it or not, it's not always about desire and gratification. It's also about learning lessons that you can learn and gain from each other. And we're done with this combination.